Good morning. Today we are going to be learn measurement of high voltages. So first method used for the measurement of high voltage is the direct measurement method. So in this method there are two types of methods with the help of which we can measure the high voltage. First is electrostatic voltmeter, under which the example is Abraham voltmeter, and the second method is a sphere gap method over there. So we'll discuss what is electrostatic voltmeter. So electrostatic voltmeter is a method which is used to measure the high voltage directly. So for voltages above 10 kV, generally the attraction disk type of electrostatic voltmeter is used. So when two parallel conducting plates having a cross sectional area capital A and spacing x are charged and having a potential difference capital V, then energy stored is given by W is equals to half CV square. So the change in the energy, if the distance is going to be changed, so whatever the change in the energy over there, it is given by dW equals to half V square dc, and that whenever a change in the position of your disk is going to be takes place, so in that case of work is done, and that is given by force into displacement, so that is equals to F into dx. So here therefore the force will be given by half V square dc by dx Newton. So for a uniform electric field, the capacitance C is given by A epsilon upon X. Therefore, the differentiation of this C is with respect to X is given by dC by dx equals to minus of A epsilon upon X square. So therefore, the force will become minus half of A epsilon V square by X square Newton. So this is a force acting on the disk or plate over there. So it is thus seen that the force of attraction is proportional to the square of the potential difference applied over there, so that the meter reads the square value, or it can be calibrated, or it can be marked to read the RMS values also. So electrostatic voltmeters of the attraction disk type may be connected across the high voltage circuits directly to measure up to 200 kV without the use of any potential divider or other reduction method. Now we'll see the example of electrostatic voltmeter. So the example is Abraham voltmeter. So in the figure we should see that there is a Abraham voltmeter is represented. So it is mostly common use electrostatic voltmeter. So in this instrument there are two mushroom shaped hollow metal discs. They are used as electrodes over there. So as shown in the figure, the right hand electrode forms the high voltage plate, while the center plate's portion of the left hand disc is cut away and encloses a small disc which is movable, and it is geared to the pointer of the instrument. The range of the instrument can be altered by setting the right hand disc at the pre-mark distances. So here some pre-mark distances are shown over there. So if you set the position of this right hand disc, so in that case we can increase the range of this instrument or this voltmeter. So the two large discs forms adequate protection for the working parts of the instruments against the external electrostatic disturbances. So these instruments are made to cover ranges from 3 kilovolt to 500 kilovolt. So we'll discuss the operation of this. So these are the two electrodes. So this is a high voltage electrode and this is a low voltage electrode. So they are made of mushroom shapes. So we can set the position of this high voltage electrode at the pre-mark positions. And here what is happening, the left hand electrode, that is LV electrode, it is cut away, and this center portion is cut away over there, and connected to this center portion what we have the small disc is there which is movable disc, and the end is connected with the spring over here, and this movable disc will have the pointer and the scale arrangement over there. So what will happen, in the high voltage is applied to this electrode. So in that case, based upon the corresponding distance between the to this, a force is going to be exerted. The equation for the force we have seen in the previous slide. So that force will be developed over here, and with that force what will happen, this particular moving portion of your low voltage electrode is going to be move over there. And if it is going to be move over there, so in that case this rotating disc is going to be rotate, and the attached to this disc we have the pointer arrangement. So that pointer is going to be deflect, and the corresponding deflection will be seen on the scale, and that can be used for the measurement purpose. So in this way we can do the measurement of high voltage directly with the help of a Abraham voltmeter. So these are the figures of your electrostatic voltmeters. So this is one type of arrangement where the light beam is used for the measurement. So here instead of pointer and a scale arrangement, a scale is there, but a mirror is used and a fixed light source is used over there. So the beam of that light is going to be, say, fall on this scale, and in that case we can get the corresponding value of the voltage to be measured over there. So this is the one which we have seen, that is Abraham voltmeter, where the moving mechanism is there. The same moving mechanism type of voltmeter is shown in the third figure. Then we'll move to the next point, that is the measurement of high voltages with the help of spear gap. So the figure of the spear gap is this. So you can see the spear gap arrangement is shown. So there are two types of arrangement over here. One is the vertical arrangement and the other is the horizontal arrangement. So these two arrangements are there. So in this case metallic spears are used for the formation of the spear gap. So spear gap is one of the method which is used for measurement of high voltage. So in this arrangement, two metal spheres are used which are separated by a gaseous gap. They can be arranged either vertically, typically with the lower sphere electrode grounded, or horizontally. The breakdown strength of the gas depends on the ionization of the gas molecule and on the density of the gas. The breakdown voltage varies with the gap spacing. The potential difference between the spheres is raised until a spark passes between them. The breakdown strength of a gas depends on the size of the sphere, their distance apart, and a number of other factors. A spear gap may be used for the determination of peak values of voltage wave and for the checking and calibration of voltmeters and other voltage measuring devices. The density of the gas, generally air, affects the spark or voltage for a given gap setting. Thus, the correction of air density change must be made. The air density correction factor must be used over there. So, if you observe the figure of the spear gap arrangement, so in that case some parameters are specified over there. So where d is the diameter of the sphere, s is the spacing between the two sphere, that is gap, then s upon d it is 0.5, and a is the height of the lowest point of the high voltage sphere above the ground, and b is the radius of clearance from the surrounding structure. So these are the points over there. So what is happening, the d is the diameter, then b is the d is the diameter, and then s is the spacing between the two, s is the spacing between the two sphere, a is the height from the ground for the upper sphere, and b is the spacing between the sphere and the metallic support wall. So the standard dimensions are given in this table. So this is again a chart. So this chart is obtained by precise experiments. So it represents the breakdown voltage variation with gap spacing for different diameters and distances, and this will be obtained by performing some precise experiments and have been calculated and represented in the form of charts. So this chart is taken from the book of M.S. Naidu and Kamaraju, that is High Voltage Engineering by M.S. Naidu and Kamaraju. So if you observe in this chart, so different gap spacings in centimeters are given and the different sphere diameters are given, and what will be the corresponding breakdown voltage that is given over there. So this chart is obtained under certain condition, that is the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius and the pressure is 760 torque. So under this condition, these are the values of the breakdown voltages. So using this chart, we can do the measurement of high voltages with the help of a sphere gap. So for measurement of high voltages with the help of the sphere gap, what we have to do? We have to initially keep the spacing between the two sphere maximum. Then we have to connect the high voltage electrode to the terminal at which we want to measure the high voltage, and the lower electrode is grounded over there for a vertical type of arrangement. So what we have done, we have initially kept the spacing maximum. So in order to determine the voltage at the high voltage terminal, what we do, we go on reducing the spacing between the two sphere gradually, and we are going to be find out the spacing at which the gap between the two electrode is going to be spark over. So the spacing at which the gap is going to be spark over, so that spacing can be measured with the help of a scale, and corresponding to that spacing, what will be the breakdown voltage, that we can find out by using the standard chart. So in that way we can do the measurement of any unknown voltage with the help of a sphere gap arrangement. So these are the two methods with the help of which we can directly measure the high voltage. Then we'll discuss the next method, which is not a direct method. So the method is transformer method of measurement. So in this we are going to be study the first method, that is transformer ratio method. So in the figure, a transformer is represented over there. So an input to it is a AC supply, and what we are doing, it is a transformer is a step up transformer. So primary winding voltage is a low voltage and secondary voltage is a high voltage. So here, if you know the transformer ratio, so in that case what we can do, we can measure the voltage at the low voltage side and we can find out the voltage at the high voltage side or a secondary side. So if you know the transformation ratio, so based upon that we can have the measurement on the secondary side by measuring the voltage on the primary side. So this is a simple method with the help of which we can do the measurement of high voltage. Then under this, a second method is transformer with additional potential winding. So in this circuit, again a step up transformer is represented. So this step up transformer will have the secondary winding over here, that is a high voltage winding, and in addition to this secondary winding there will be one additional potential winding provided over here. So this additional potential winding can be utilized to make the measurement on a secondary or a high voltage side. So here a voltmeter is connected across the additional potential winding. So the voltage across the additional potential winding can be easily measured with the help of a laboratory voltmeter, and if the ratio of this additional potential winding with respect to the secondary winding is known, so in that case we can easily determine the voltage at the high voltage side with the help of this additional winding and a voltmeter connected across it. Then the third method under this, it is transformer with potential transformer. So here what is happening, a potential transformer can be utilized. We know that with the help of PT we can have the measurement. So here a step up transformer is represented. So this will be a high voltage side. So if you want to measure the potential at this terminal, so in that case what we have to do, we have to connect one potential transformer on this side. So the this will be a high voltage side or a say HV side of your potential transformer. So this is connected to this high voltage side, and the secondary side of your potential transformer, it is a low voltage side, or it is generally 110 volt side. So this 110 volt can be easily measured with the help of your laboratory voltmeter. So we can connect a laboratory voltmeter to measure the voltage, and based upon the again the ratio of your potential transformer, we can determine the voltage at this high voltage side. So this is again a general method used for the measurement of high voltage. Then we will move to the next method. So series resistance method of measurement. So in case of a series resistance method of measurement, a high resistance is connected in series with a microammeter for the measurement of high voltage. So this is a terminal which is connected to a high voltage terminal, for which we have to carry out the measurement, and the other end is grounded over here. So value of this resistance is kept high, and in series with this a microammeter is going to be connected over there. So as the value of resistance is high, the current flowing through this series combination of resistance and a microammeter will be having a magnitude in terms of microampere. So the magnitude of that current can be measured with the help of a microammeter, and the value of the resistance connected in series with that microammeter is known to us. So by taking the product of the current and a resistance, we can determine the voltage at the high voltage terminal. Simply V is equals to IR will give you the value of the voltage at the high voltage terminal. So this is again a simple method used for the measurement of high voltage. The next method is resistive potential divider method. So again this is a simple method of measurement. So in this method of measurement, a resistive divider circuit is used for the measurement. A resistive divider circuit is used for the measurement of high voltage. So this is a high voltage terminal. So at this high voltage terminal we have to carry out the measurement. So for that we have taken the resistive potential divider circuit. So in this two resistances are connected over here. So upper one resistance is R1 and the lower resistance is R2, and across the resistance R2 a voltmeter is connected over there. So values of this resistance R1 and R2 are such that the value of resistance R1 is very high. So its value is very high as compared to the value of resistance R2. So value of resistance R2 is kept low intentionally so that the voltage drop occurring across the resistance R2 will be less, and it can be easily measured with the help of our laboratory voltmeter. So here what is happening, at this terminal a high voltage is present, and the two resistances R1 and R2 they are connected in a series. So because of that a current is going to be flow over there, and a potential is going to be dropped across the resistance R1 and R2. So heavy potential is going to be dropped across the resistance R1, and low potential is going to be dropped across the resistance R2. So which can be measured with the help of a voltmeter over here. So the voltage across the resistance R1, it is given by V1, and the voltage drop across the resistance R2 is given by V2, and consider that V is the voltage at the high voltage terminal. So here the value of the voltage drop across the resistance R2 is V2 equals to, it is given by V2 equals to R2 upon R1 plus R2 into V, and the voltage at the high voltage terminal, it can be calculated by using the formula R1 plus R2 upon R2 into V2. So we know the value of resistance R1, R2, and we know the value of the voltage drop across the resistance R2 with the help of this voltmeter. So we can easily find out the voltage at the high voltage terminal using this formula. So this is again a simple method with the help of which we can measure the high voltage. Then we'll move to the next method, that is a capacitive potential divider method. So it is similar to that of your resistive potential divider circuit. So in this case again we are having a high voltage terminal over here. So across this high voltage terminal we have to carry out the measurement. So we are having the capacitive potential divider circuit in which the two capacitors C1 and C2, they are connected in a series. So again the values of the capacitor C1 and C2 are selected in such a way that uh, high voltage drop is going to be occur across the capacitor C1, means the potential stored across the C1 will be uh, high, and the potential stored across the capacitor C2 will be low, so that we can easily measure that potential with the help of our laboratory voltmeter. And if magnitude is more, so we can use a electrostatic voltmeter over there. So in this case again the voltage drop across the capacitor C2 is given by V2, and the voltage drop across the capacitor C1 is given by V1, and the voltage at this high voltage terminal, it is given by V over there. So using this formula V2 is equals to C1 by C1 plus C2 into V, we can so this is the formula for V2. So using this formula we can find out the value of the voltage at the high voltage terminal. So if you rewrite this formula, then V will be equals to C1 plus C2 upon C1 into V2, where the value of C1 is known, C2 is known, and the value of V2 we can calculate or we can measure with the help of this voltmeter connected across the capacitor C2. So putting all these values in this equation, we can easily determine the value of the voltage at the high voltage terminal.